everybody, and welcome into Blue Jays today, folks. This holiday Monday, Guerrero, literally best player in baseball right now. That's actually not an exaggeration. You can make a very strong argument for why this guy, at least offensively speaking, over the last week, over the last month, has been the best player in MLB. Fans are calling for it. In fact, I would even argue that we are screaming at the top of our lungs for it. If you've been on Twitter recently, extend Guerrero, extend Vladdy, keep him here forever, make him a ghost of the Toronto Blue Jays because he's been here so goddamn long. That is how good he's playing right now. Really the only bright spot on this team. So we're going to talk about what people are saying about the extension, because not just fans. We're getting Jeff Passan coming out and saying a couple of different things, and a couple other industry experts are speaking on what a Guerrero extension could look like. On top of that, everybody, John Schneider making some controversial calls in some recent games. Juan Soto having a couple words about that. And then David Schneider not performing the way that we all hoped or expected David Schneider to perform. Maybe not even going to finish this year on this team. All that and more. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlock.
I'm your host, Adam Paddle. Welcome in, everybody. Good day to everybody. Sophie, BC, Ryan, Steven, Laura, Lee, Z, Dylan. Welcome in, guys. Yeah, Jay Castro saying, yes, if Atkins doesn't get the deal done, I will call for his head on a platter, as we all should. I think 100 emoji, 100 emoji, 100 emoji, 100 emoji. I mean, yeah, I think really if I'm Ross Atkins right now, I'm looking at the grand scheme of things. I'm seeing the writing on the wall. I know my time here as the Toronto Blue Jays probably done. I mentioned this before. If he wants any case to save his job, you got to get that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. deal done, because if you don't, then we're going to get somebody else in here that's going to do it anyways. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Rogers Communication Company, I know what my fans want. They want Vladimir Guerrero Jr. here long term. And you made a video talking about this. There were some reports out there that, Atkins is saying, well, we might get the deal done in the next offseason when he's a free agent. We have confidence that we'll bring him back. I do not want that to happen. I don't think any of the fans want that to happen. It's going to happen this offseason. So why not extend him right now?
Yeah.
The trade deadline's over. Let's do it now.
That's the thing. I mean, you got to see what's happened in recent history, right? And I think the one that we're looking at right now is the Danny Jansen thing, right? Because you had the reports come out that they were, in fact, having conversations last offseason. They could never put pen to paper. And then, oh, shit, here we are. He gets traded away, and we're wondering how the hell we got here. And I think that you need to do everything in your power if you're Ross Atkins or if you're the Toronto Blue Jays management to assure that that same storyline doesn't happen with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Every single time that this guy is touching the field, it's an extra base hit. It's a home run there. It's a line drive here. I mean, he's hitting the ball so well right now that it feels like literally every passing day, his value is just going up and up and up and up. And he, of course, is going to be having conversations with his representatives, with his agency, talking about how, being age 25 right now and being only a year and a little bit removed from free agency, and frankly, being on a team that freaking sucks right now. Maybe you do want to try out free agency, and he would be well within his right to do so. So if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you need to understand that those conversations are being had right now internally with Guerrero, and you got to hop on this shit immediately, man, because before you know it, it could be too late.
It absolutely could. Well, before we continue this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. conversation, I think it's a good time, it's only right as we're talking about him, to announce the Jay of the Week.
It's Jay Harry.
Jay Harry, the Jay of the Week. Let's go.
Okay, obviously, folks, this one's pretty clear and obvious. Like I said, it's Vladdy. It is Vladdy. Over the past week, actually, I saw something that he actually made history.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He made Blue Jays history. Let me see if I can find it right now.
Well, let me, while you're looking for that, let me pull up his stats right here for everyone to see. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the last week. Unreal, guys. There was that doubleheader that really boosted these numbers. He was hot that day. Batting average of .536, a slugging of 1.107, OPS of 1.713, 3 homers, 8 RBIs. He's got 7 doubles. Can we just talk about that? 7 doubles. He has 10 extra base hits of the 15. more extra base hits than singles. That's insane.
So I can't find the article specifically on it, but that, like, effectively what he did in Blue Jays history is that stretch of time period right there with the 1.7 OPS that he has. I forget the exact stretch, but that is like the highest in OPS has been in Blue Jays history in, X amount of games. You know what I mean? So it's like he's actually, the last few weeks of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been not only the best of his career, the best of the season, but actually the best that we've ever seen a Toronto Blue Jays player play in a Blue Jays uniform. That's it. Just kind of fucking crazy.
Unreal. I mean, we talk about Aaron Judge being one of the best players right now, and he's right there with him in the last 30 days. OPS numbers are almost identical, and it's like, hey, you know what? This guy is playing out of his absolute skin. I think you could probably say, like you're just saying, nobody's value has ever been higher as a Toronto Blue Jay right now. And so, with that being said, we're talking about extension conversations. We've been waiting and looking for this kind of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he's here in order to back that Brinks truck up, as someone just said in the chat, and give him the money. Is that what we're looking at this current situation? Backing up the Brinks truck, handing him a blank check?
Well, the deal that everybody looks to is the one that Rafael Devers got a couple of years ago, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's something like, it's like 11 or 12 for 330. Something along those lines.
Something like that, 317.
Still a very lucrative deal for Rafael Devers, but I mean, seeing what he's doing right now, you go, okay, well, fuck, that's kind of worth it. And he is a top tier talent. Now, the difference is that Rafael Devers, even though he's not the greatest third base of all time ever, he is still a third baseman. And that is going to be a more valuable position to have locked up for a decade or more than the first baseman position, which is kind of the exact argument that Jeff Passan makes right here, talking about how there will be no $300 million deal. It's not going to happen. And his whole thing that he goes on about here, he's talking to Kevin Barker. He's on the Blair and Barker show. Shout out to them. They're phenomenal. But effectively, he's arguing that because he's a first baseman and because he's not a very good one either, it's not like he's the greatest first baseman of all time. He's actually one of the worst. You're effectively looking at a DH, right? He's kind of just a hitter, and it's not like he's got speed to him either or incredible base running abilities. I mean, I think the other day we saw him try to steal third in
that was just
ridiculous
a
play.
mistake.
So, like, really, you're looking at a bat. It's a bat.
His base running value, you don't have to have great speed to be a good base runner. You have to be a smart base runner. His base running value, too, is not even that great. So, he's not fast, and he's not that smart on the base paths.
So, it's like,
with that being said,
no defense, no base pass awareness, all that stuff. Incredible hitter. And for all those reasons, Jeff Passan's arguing, well, because of that, there's not going to be a $300 million guy. There's no $300 million first baseman, to which then Jeff Blair actually responds back and says, well, hey, what about Bryce Harper? I mean, he's getting paid $330, and he's a pretty damn good fucking first baseman. And then Jeff Passan kind of, argues back, well, when he signed that, he was an outfielder, and then he got converted to a first baseman because of health reasons and everything like that. So, what are your thoughts on what Jeff Passan has to say here? Kind of a point being that $300 million won't happen, too much for Guerrero just because of the position that he plays and how he plays it.
Like, I do agree with him. He does got some weight. I do agree that, like, he's just a bat at this point, right? And you look at the other guys he kind of mentioned here, or Jeff Blair mentioned, like Freddie Freeman. Yeah, Freddie Freeman only signed a 6-year, $162 million. Now, the big difference here for me is Freddie Freeman did that in the middle of his career when he was 30-plus years old. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is 25 years old. So that, for me, is the major difference, where you've got a guy at 25 years old about to hit free agency. You look at the market right now for players like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. that are young and they have lots of control. If you sign them to a big extension, you can get more juice out of that 10-plus year contract. So then you got to pay him more. You brought up a great example to me before this the show even began. Miguel Cabrera, for example, he is a first baseman. Now, granted, I think there's no comparison right now between Miguel Cabrera and a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because Miguel Cabrera is just, when he got this big extension, he was one of the best of all time. Like, he already solidified his name as one of the best ever.
I have his numbers right here, everybody. So Miguel Cabrera signed an extension in 2016. Right after the 2015 season.
Oh, 2015, yeah.
And then, coming into 2016, he was under that new contract. And the 5, 6, 7 years prior to that, he won 2 MVPs, the runner-up a couple times.
He won the Triple Crown.
Triple Crown. Like, you're looking at one of the best stretches of baseball of all time.
Yeah.
Now, one thing to factor in, though, is when he signed this deal, he would have been 33 years old.
Exactly.
And that's a lot older, right? And these days, you don't often see a 33-year-old lock in for $250+ million. And then also, too, that was 10 years ago, $250 million at this point is closer to probably 350, just market value and inflation and all that shit. So it's a very loose comparison here, but I think that it would be a strong argument or something that I would use to kind of push back on Jeff Passan and say, you know what, hey, there can be arguments for why Guerrero may deserve $300 million. Believe you me, I would love it if he doesn't get paid $300. If you can somehow finagle a $200 million deal out of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., be my fucking guest and cook, Ross. Go ahead and cook.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe, though, just because, we've had so much hype with him. He's had incredible years in the past. He's finally coming into his own again. And the age, you just don't end up with a 900+ OPS guy who is 25 years old and you could have forever. So with all those things being considered, I still think it's going to be up there.
Yeah, I agree. And he also makes one more comparison, Jeff Passan, to a Pete Alonso. And now I do think, depending on what Pete Alonso gets paid this offseason, will kind of show what the market is for he is a bit older, though, 29-year-old first baseman who put up relatively very similar numbers to him, an OPS plus of 135 compared to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. OPS career plus of 135.
Yeah.
So they're very similar. Granted, age, again, and controllability is going to play a huge factor into that. So the average annual value will definitely be a factor. But I think with all that being considered, I think Vladdy absolutely is going to warrant $300 million, somewhere in there. I don't know if it's way over or way under, but somewhere in the ballpark of $300 million. And if I'm a Toronto Blue Jay fan, if the Blue Jays did that tomorrow, I'd be so happy. I'd be more than happy.
Yeah, okay, depending on the years, obviously.
Yeah, but let's say 10 years, $300 million.
Sure.
Lock it in.
I think that's the price that you pay. Now, to Passan's point and everything like that, if there is any, league-wide discount because he is just kind of a glorified DH, I think that's phenomenal, right?
Right.
Because let's face it, defensively speaking, there actually could be a point in time where maybe at one point in his career he just becomes a DH. I don't know what his health concerns are going to look like or anything like that, but because the way that he plays first base isn't fucking great, that could actually happen. I still think that, with the way he hits the ball, though, it'll probably be up there. But regardless of the price tag or anything like that, the time frame that you have is 12 months. Because if you don't have it done within 12 months' time, you are not going to be getting it done before he hits free agency. And that's just not a good place to be. Because speaking of Bryce Harper, for instance, we were talking on the stream the other day about how many guys the Washington Nationals once had. Bryce Harper used to be Washington National and, never finished there and then ended up as a Philadelphia Philly because they didn't lock him down long enough and they didn't ever come to terms with the right number. That's a mistake that you don't want to make if you're the Toronto Blue Jays.
No, you don't. And a lot of people here are saying, with inflation, $300 million is going to look great in a few years. Yeah, imagine you have an average annual value of $30 million per year for Vladdy. By the time it's 2030, you're going, holy shit, everyone's getting paid like $40, $50 million a year. We have Vladdy for 30 and he's still in the prime of his career. You're going to be very happy.
Yeah.
You're going to be very happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something to consider, too. These long-term deals, it's not just what's fair today, but it's what's fair in 5 or 6 or 7 years. So, I think that if Ross has any hope of locking down his job long-term, which I still, even if he does get this deal done,
I still think he's gone. But he's got to do it, though.
He's got to do it, right? At least if he did that, then we can look back at the Ross Atkins era and be like, okay, at least you gave us Vlad long-term.
Now, Sophie with a question to kind of cap off this Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension conversation. She's asking, when do you think the Jays will extend him? Like a realistic thing. I think they should extend him this offseason. When do you actually think it's going to happen?
I still think I think if it's not this offseason, I don't think it's happening. I really think that's this offseason is the time frame. You're in the season right now. I think they should probably be starting the conversations right now. But either way, okay, let's say that they're in the season and whatever, and maybe Ross Atkins is gonna go immediately. So you want your new guy to have those conversations. Well, last game of the Toronto Blue Jays season is September 29th.
Yep.
September 30th, Ross Atkins is fired.
Yep.
October 10th, we have a new guy, or we've locked in that it's James Clicks or whatever. We found out who's going to be leading the squad. now the first thing that you're doing is you're talking to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and you're making sure that that's your number one priority and keeping him long term. So
Agreed.
I just think that if you enter into next season without an extension, then you kind of are forced to trade him at the deadline if you're not good. And then if you are good, then you're just holding on to him and you're going to walk into free agency with no extent. Like, it's got to be this offseason. It has to be this offseason, and I think it will be. Like, I know that the Toronto Blue Jays management has been stupid in the past, but I just don't think that they can be this dumb.
Well, I'll put it simply this way. I think if Ross Atkins remains GM, it won't happen. Based on the conversations he's had and what he said to the public, I just don't think it's going to happen. He's going to be way too fixated on actually trying to build a competitive roster for 2025. There's so much work to be done there. I don't even think he's worried about that because he probably knows I'm done after this year anyways. So why would it matter for me, right? I think if it's Ross Atkins, we're not getting the extension done. If it is somebody else, that's got to be the number one priority, and you got to extend him.
I hope that you're wrong, because again, I know what comments you're referring to with Ross Atkins. Like recently, he's come out and he's been pretty sus about exactly what's going to happen there with the extensions. Now, to his credit, he has come out and said many a time, we're not trading Vladdy. Vladdy's part of the future. We want Vladdy here. He's part of all this shit. I don't know why he came out and was talking like he was talking the other day. Like, that does actually worry me a little bit.
Exactly.
I still believe that Ross Atkins would get it done because I think he does know that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is so valuable. But I still want somebody else to go.
I need somebody else because my point of view is like thinking about, again, if he's selfless and thinking about the team, then hell yeah, Ross Atkins, like, go get that deal done. But with a guy coming in, a new person coming in, I look at this roster, it's like, okay, I need to build a dynasty here. Clearly, this is my dynasty piece right now. I got to get this done. Whereas Ross Atkins is thinking, let's just get all the value in as much as possible. That's my number one priority. So we'll see what happens, though. I mean, a lot of the conversations are going to change, whether it's Ross Atkins leading the team or not.
Yeah, and that should be, that needs to be the number one priority right when you enter the offseason. Then it's Guerrero right after that, folks. Let's move on to talk about a controversial call that John Schneider made in this previous series against the New York Yankees. Game 1 on Friday. If you were here in the live stream, you heard me calling for it consistently. I was saying, walk Aaron Judge. I don't care who's on base. I don't care how many outs there are. Walk Aaron Judge. He hits a home run. They go up at some point. I think we still win that game.
Still win that game, yeah. Good game.
But either way, Judge is just a different fucking animal. Then on Saturday, he comes out, first at bat, boom, gone, easy. I'm Aaron Judge. I'm the GOAT right now.
Yeah.
We go on to lose that game. But in that game, you saw it for the first time. 2 outs, nobody on base. John Schneider says, I've had enough. I'm going to walk them just for free. And they do it, and it works. And then the next day, he does it again 3 more times. Aaron Judge got walked 3 times intentionally by the Toronto Blue Jays. I was screaming for it. I'm actually very happy that John Schneider did it because, it worked out the way that you wanted to every single time. The guys behind him never came up clutch in any capacity. Judge never scored in any capacity. However, Juan Soto had something to say about it.
Yeah, Juan Soto said that it sucks to see Aaron Judge getting walked, and I get it. Look, if I was Toronto Blue Jays and Vladdy's up in a big spot, and I know that there's nobody behind Vladdy, like there's literally nobody. Obviously, Judge's best player in the game, so there's nobody I'd rather have at the plate. But he's got 0 protection, and if I saw Vladdy in this situation with 0 protection getting walked, I'd be like, well, that's going to ruin our game because our lineup is so depleted. But it's the same situation going with the Yankees, but I think it's just fair strategy. I saw Yankees fans calling the Blue Jays the softest team in baseball. I think it's a good strategy. Aaron Boone, it's up to you now. Either you put somebody behind Aaron Judge that could come up and actually hit him home when intentionally walked. Like, I saw people saying, well, why don't they flip Judge and Soto now? If Judge is going to get the Barry Bonds treatment, put Judge second, put Soto right behind him, and have Soto hit after him. Then who are you going to face, right? That's got to be the question. So you have to make now an adjustment managerially if you're starting to see it happening. I think it was good plan. I mean, it worked out. We lost both games that we walked them in, but still, that was beyond that reason. That was because our pitching sucked. But Yeah, sure, it sucks to see. We'll make an adjustment.
No, that's
Simple
the
as that.
thing. I mean, like, I disagree wholeheartedly with any Yankee fan that's like getting pissed off about it. Or, Soto did come out and say, to his credit, he kind of went back on it. Was like, you know what, this is, it's a strategy, and I understand it, and whatever. It sucks, but it is the strategy. And like, to me, it's the same fucking shit as like, this guy doesn't like high fastballs, so we're gonna throw him high fastballs. It's the same thing where it's like this, or like he's really strong on off-speed pitches inside, so obviously we're not going to throw him that. This guy is just really strong altogether, so we're just not going to deal with him.
It's the manager game. Like, it goes beyond the players. Literally, it's John Schneider's call to make the walk. Now it's up to Boone to set up the lineup to avoid that. It's that simple. So, so if you don't like it, don't get mad at the Blue Jays. Get mad at fucking Aaron Boone.
Yeah.
If you really don't like it, now Aaron Boone's got to make an adjustment.
And also, I would say from a Yankees fan standpoint, get mad at your GM, get mad at your management for not providing a little bit more protection. Because if, for instance, Anthony Rizzo was Anthony Rizzo of old, or Stanton was Stanton of old right now, or anything like that, well, now this isn't a conversation anymore, because you got to deal with all those guys after that, but they're not. And they're not very good, right? And they posted a statistic yesterday saying, talking about how the the Yankees lineup outside of Soto and Judge have an OPS of 600 something, right?
650. It's like the Blue Jays.
Yeah, literally horrible. It's like every other guy is effectively, actually they're better than Kevin Kiermaier, but you understand my point, right? It's not like I will take all of those guys and risk dealing with them than having to deal with Aaron Judge 10 times out of 10, or Juan Soto for that matter. If I could walk both of them intentionally, I would. But we can't do that with Soto because he's got protection, right? So
can you imagine I hear your point. Imagine like we get 2 outs. It's then like Soto, walk, Judge, walk, and then it's Wells, and then we get him out.
Right. Like actually, I don't know the math. You'd have to do it. It might be more profitable.
Yeah, you'd have to. Some nerds out there got to do the math, but
somebody would need to figure that out. But it might legitimately be more profitable to do that, just on the way that their lineup is constructed. And frankly, they should probably be doing that more, or other teams should be doing that more with us. With Guerrero. Oh, because we don't have anybody.
Reason not to.
We don't have anybody after that.
No reason that they should be letting Vladdy hit now.
No, 100%.
No.
It's like, I mean, if I was the Yankees and, okay, you're going to do that to my guy, no problem.
Your guy.
Your guy's on.
And I would have been like, all right, respect. Because we literally have Horowitz behind him.
Yes.
Of course we're going to say.
Horowitz, Varsho, whatever.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's not good. It's not good, everybody. But I appreciate the strategy from John Schneider. I like that he did it. Speaking of the guys batting behind Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and how they just need to be so much better, there's talk right now about Dave Schneider and where he's actually going to finish this year. He just reached, shout out to David Schneider, by the way, 1 year of service time.
Good job.
He got called up. A year ago. I saw his sister tweet about that on X, and great to see.
Congratulations.
So he's been in the league for a year, but will he remain in the league for the remainder of this year? That's the question. He's not playing too good. What are your thoughts on David Schneider now?
This was an article by Jay's Journal kind of prompting this whole thing. So shout out to Edward for making this, saying, 5 Blue Jays that won't be, who won't finish the month of August on the big league roster. Number 1 is David Schneider. And look, I'm kind of with it. I mean, you guys also in the chat were kind of prompting this as well, like bringing this to our attention. Like, for me, I always just saw David Schneider as a guy that was locked in every single day. We play this guy. He's going to get his at-bats. Let's see what he's made of. But he's been that guy, getting locked in, playing every day, and it hasn't turned out pretty good. In the month of June, he had an OPS of 518, July 549, and August, it's off to a terrible start at 455. It looks like the plan that the pitchers are putting against him is we're going to hit you up with the high fastball, and we know you can't hit it. We're going to hit our high velo upstairs, and you're not going to be able to hit it. And until he makes the adjustment, he's not going to be able to hit that fastball and have success at the big league level. So the case here to send down David Schneider for the rest of the season isn't a permanent one. Like, he could be back in spring, maybe even in September, who knows, and going and competing on the big league roster. But he needs to take some time to step away from proving himself at the big league level to getting back to his mechanics, getting back to making that adjustment to attack those high fastballs. You saw it last year a little bit where he made a little adjustment, but then that was it. It was a little magic in a bottle. So I think this is actually going to be helpful for David Schneider get somebody else up to the big league level while Davis goes figures it out.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers right now. I mean, it definitely hasn't been good. You're seeing the batting average just kind of chill around that low 200 mark, and the pop is dropping significantly, right? I mean, like at the beginning of the season, that slugging was at the high to mid 400s, and then now we're looking at a 375 slugging, which just isn't what David Schneider initially brought to the table. You know, like this was he hit hard. You know,
he hit the ball hard.
He hit the ball really hard. And it was going over the fence more times than not. And he was looking like he might be a little bit of a power guy for us. And that just hasn't really translated this year. So I think that I can certainly see an argument for why he could use a stint down there in the minors, especially when you look at that.
Yeah, look at the fastball.
The fastball.
He can't hit it. It's because it's so obvious. We just throw a fastball upstairs.
Yeah,
you can't hit it.
That's a bit, and that's just something that you need to rectify because you can't sit on the off speed all the time. They're going to throw you fastballs more times than not. You need to prove that you can hit that, and if you can't, then you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So that's certainly something going on there. You know, it kind of prompted the thought for me, and I know that they're never going to do this. But, you know, David Schneider isn't the only one, I think, that could use a little bit of a wake-up call or like a refresh or something like that.
Who else?
Dalton Varsho. They'll never do it. They'll never do it.
Because that would shock.
Yeah.
That would shock fans.
They'll never do it. But, I was thinking to myself,
Agreed.
it's like, if the rest of this season doesn't mean dick,
right.
Like, if it really doesn't matter, I mean, obviously, you love to see Varsho's defense out there, but we know it's phenomenal all the time.
But we don't need to win games
we
with
don't
defense
need
anymore.
to win games right now. I need you to be good at baseball in the future. And so far this year, batting-wise, it just has not been very good, offensively speaking, for Dalton Varsho. We were kind of doing a whole deep dive on his Baseball Savant page the other day. Can you scroll up to the top again just to show the percentiles?
Yeah, it's just
it's
awful.
It's a wild thing. Because effectively, what I take away from this is that actually, what do I take away from this? I couldn't.
Terrible hitter, great defender.
It's like he can't. He's just having a really hard time hitting the ball hard, but he's got good bat speed and he doesn't chase. But then when he does chase, he wins. It's a wild stat line from not David Schneider, excuse me, Dalton Varsho. And we really do need him for the future. They'll never do it. They'll never send him down. But it's a thought.
This is weird, man. Like, it looks like the cutter is just not a great pitch for him. And I'm trying to wonder, because he probably mostly faces right-handed pitching. You probably see a stat here later. But the cutter with a right-handed pitcher would cut back in, and it's a hole. It look like I'm just again, this is me looking at it for the first time, but it's very weird because he hits the fastball great, hits the changeup great, slider's got 1-run value. Like, he's a mystery to me. And yeah, you're right. I feel like someone smarter than us has to go figure it out for Dalton Varsho.
They need to, because again, like,
he's the future. He's
part of if you're going to be competitive in 2025, Dalton Varsho is going to be in the lineup every single day because you need that defense. And right now, we don't have the luxury of having a bunch of other hitters out here popping off. We need Dalton Varsho to finally become that player that at least he was in Arizona. Like, that was what we were hoping we'd get at the base minimum, is be that mid 700 OPS guy who, sends one over the fence 25 times a year and has a 240 batting average with your incredible defense. Now you're looking at a 6-WAR talent. Now you're looking at somebody who's going to the All-Star game. Batting 200, even with the gold, even maybe platinum glove, defense that he provides out there in the outfield, it's just not good enough on a team that desperately needs run support. So, again, I highly doubt that they'd ever do it. I think that it's something that you should think about. But if you don't, then somebody smarter than me, somebody smarter than Guillermo Martinez has got to figure out what the hell's going on with Dalton Varsho and deal with that.
Someone in AAA, right? Again, it's audition season. Like, who cares? Just bring him down there and figure him out. I want to actually talk about one more thing before we talk about the upcoming weeks. You guys brought this up on our live play-by-play. The chat brought it up, being like, Danny Jansen's going to play for the Jays and for the Red Sox in a makeup game. I think it's going to be a doubleheader. And we were both confused because we didn't understand exactly what you guys meant. But it's kind of true. Danny Jansen won't be a Toronto Blue Jay in the makeup game on August 26th against the Boston Red Sox. But technically, what's going to happen is Danny Jansen we're going to resume the game when Danny Jansen was at bat in the top of the second on June 26th.
Right.
We're going to be resuming that game. It was an 0-1 count on Danny Jansen when the game was called. So obviously, when we resume the game, you have to have the same lineup, same cards, same fielders, same pitchers, same everything. But you can't have Danny Jansen at bat for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Right.
So obviously, you got to make a substitution. And then on the Red Sox side of things, what's crazy is they had Reese McGuire, shout out Wanky Panky, catching that at bat where Danny Jansen was. So obviously they DFA'd him. So they need to replace Wanky Panky at that position. So there could be a reality if the Boston Red Sox choose to do so, and I think they should just for the meme, put Danny Jansen in at catcher during the same at bat that Danny Jansen was batting for the Toronto Blue Jays. And on the box score, it will read as one full game. And Danny Jansen would actually be the first player in history to play for two teams in one game.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. And that would be, again, like he's not going to be doing the at-bat and catching at the same time. It will just say on the box score that Jansen is, on both sides, which is kind of cool. Interesting to note right there. It's also kind of funny that, like all of these guys, Wanky Panky involved as well, and he's got to do with the Jays too. So it's just like Toronto Blue Jays and Boston Red Sox, but they've been planning this for years. They've been wanting to make the meme for a while right now, everybody. So stay tuned for that game. That should be a fun makeup one right there, just to see if he actually does, or the Boston Red Sox do fulfill that thing.
It would be history, guys. But let's move on. Let's talk about this upcoming series against the Baltimore Orioles. It's the final Orioles series of the season 2. So we're wrapping up this season series with another division rival this week. And I looked it up. We are 4-6 against the Baltimore Orioles this year.
Okay,
which is better.
Yeah.
Which is actually, we actually split a couple series. So we it's better than expected, but we have 3 games left. If we want to win this series, the season series, we're going to have to sweep them. I don't know how likely that is, but let's see and let's find out, guys. We got game 1 over here. Chris Bassitt up against Grayson Rodriguez, and I forget how he did against us. I'm assuming he did pretty good against us in his last outing.
I think we actually got a couple off him. I could be completely wrong about that, but I thought that
I think you're not wrong. Oh yeah, we got 3 runs off him in 6 innings.
Yeah.
And he still got the win. But that's beyond the point. That's beyond the point. We got him a little bit. You have Chris Bassitt coming up, and he's been a little bit shaky as of late.
It's not been great for him and or a lot of the Toronto Blue Jays starters recently. I mean, like a lot of runs have been coming around the dish. The pitching as a whole have just been rough. Which is, I mean, like I know that we're getting on Dalton Varsho and getting on David Schneider and all this shit. The offense has actually not been the major issue in the last month or two of baseball. Like the pitching has just been one of the worst in baseball. I mean, if we were playing in Coors Field, we probably would be the worst in baseball, right? Like it's that bad, everybody. So things are not looking good for the starters. Things are certainly not looking good for the bullpen. Grayson Rodriguez, 13-4. That's all I need to see. That's really all I need to see. I mean, he's got a similar ERA to Chris Bassitt, but I would imagine that he's doing a bit better than Chris Bassitt is recently. And even with a similar ERA, he's 13-4 compared to Chris Bassett's 8-10.
Yeah.
So Baltimore wins games. They win games when he's on the bump. I feel confident that they're probably going to win this one this evening.
Yeah, Bassett's going through
tomorrow, excuse me.
Yeah, Bassett's going through a really tough stretch, and the Baltimore Orioles are ready. They're trying to win a division title. We're trying to audition guys, and Bassett's kind of, I got to imagine he's checked out at this point.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. I don't think that Bassett's necessarily checked out because I feel like Bassett's the guy, or he's one of those types of guys where he's just so competitive, so hyper-competitive, that he'll never be truly checked out, but I can fully see how he'd be very frustrated with this team, with his own play, with the management, with the coaching, with everything. And even if you don't intend for it to happen, subconsciously that will affect your play at some point. So, I mean, that could certainly be a factor with him as well.
It's like on the golf course when you're like having a bad round and you're on the 15th hole and you're like, God damn, like I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah, the mental game, kind of beat you. You know, you're still trying, but it's like there's something not quite right.
You had some great shots, but like you're getting unlucky. You know what I mean? It's your offense, for example, in this case, is just not putting up for you, and that's where it is.
I get it. I do understand it. So game 1, we're saying that will probably be an L right there. Second game here, it's going to be Trevor Rogers up against Bowden Francis. Now, Trevor Rogers, big trade happened a week ago today, or not today, excuse me, a week ago on Tuesday. Trevor Rogers gets moved over to the Baltimore Orioles. They send over a couple top prospects. First outing, I think, was kind of rough for Trevor Rogers. He's got 4.76 ERA right now. I do think that he will figure it out eventually, but I wouldn't say that he's going to be back to his, Rookie of the Year 2 finish or anything like that. That being said, Bowden Francis, I can assure you, is not going to be figuring it out anytime soon. I mean, it's just been a rough season for Bowden Francis as a whole. It feels like years removed from the time frame around spring training where we think that this guy was actually going to be somebody. And at this point, I mean, we are so far removed from that. So what are you thinking in this one right here? Rogers up against Bowden Francis, Baltimore Orioles offense up against our offense.
I mean, I feel like how could you predict that we win? Even though Trevor Rogers is probably the closest game, I will say. I'm just going to sneak peek over to Game 3. Yeah, it's probably... Actually, Game 3 might be a little close too, but I just don't see how in a bullpen game we're going to even have a shot. With our bullpen being the way it is right now, at least when we had bullpen games earlier in the year, we had guys.
Yeah.
We don't have any guys anymore, so it's going to be an absolute slugfest. 10-plus runs for the Orioles. Sure, we might score 6. It doesn't matter. 10-plus runs for the Orioles, and they win this one game, too.
You saw it yesterday, too, right? The Toronto Blue Jays, for the longest time yesterday, were actually up 2-0 over the New York Yankees. And then the second that Yariel Rodriguez comes out, which was a bad decision, might I say, but the second that he comes out, they start cashing them in a little bit more. Eventually, it becomes 3-3, and then DJ LeMahieu in the 10th finishes it off for a 4-3 win. And that's actually when the bullpen's doing good. They gave up 4 runs yesterday, and I didn't even feel like they were fully exploding or anything like that. That felt to me like the peak of their performance.
Yeah,
I don't expect that every time, everybody. So. Yeah, I mean, a bullpen day moving forward, just lock it in for an L, regardless of who we're playing.
And then the last one on Thursday, you got Kevin Gausman up against Kramer. Gausman was looking good his last outing when we were live against the New York Yankees, and then he got blown up.
Yeah.
He fell apart right at the end.
Can we take a look at the game logs here?
Lord.
So, where are the recent game logs?
Here it is.
You got 4 earned runs in 4.2 innings. 3 earned runs in 9 innings, which is great. 4 and 6.2, meh. 2 and 7, great. 2 and 6, great.
Meh.
7 and 4.1. It's just been like a back and forth. A great outing, bad outing, great outing, bad outing. It's like you really don't know what to expect anymore out of Kevin Gausman. And I do hate to say it, it does feel like this is going to end up being kind of a throw it in the garbage type of year for Gausman. Like when we look back at this, I'm not overtly concerned about him moving forward. The one thing that you did bring up, I mean, that with the splitter.
Oh, the splitter.
That is a bit worrying.
Yeah.
Apparently the splitter is just not splitting like it used to, and now his fastball usage is trying to overcompensate for it, and the fastball is getting hit hard. So there is cause for concern, but I trust that Kevin Gausman will find a way to bounce back at some capacity for next year. This year, though, I'm not convinced.
No.
All that being said, though, back and forth.
That's what I was going to say.
Yesterday or on Friday was a bad one. Maybe it's a good one here. I don't know if we get swept, so I'm going to say that we win this one against Kramer.
Yeah, I think we squeak one out. This will be his one good outing in the mix of all the back and forth. The key for Gausman is location, man. If the Baltimore Orioles hitters, I've seen them enough to know that they're smart as fuck, and they're going to do what the Yankees did and wait on the fastball until he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
But he's got to not make a mistake to keep us in this one. So I think we just squeak out a win. I could easily see us getting swept here. Obviously, Orioles are a wagon. And then the Blue Jays, if they do win one, they'll be 52 and 63. Not like it matters, but auditions, guys, auditions.
So we have exactly 50 games remaining now. 50 games remaining right now in the season. Your Toronto Blue Jays are 51 and 61. What's your prediction at this point for the final record? 50 games left. 50 games left. Keeping in mind, probably for the remainder of this year, we will be predicting series losses in almost every single series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if that's going to be the case, if I'm predicting a series loss every time, I mean, what is 33% of 50? What's the quick math there?
That would be like 17 or something.
Yeah, like 16, 17. I'm gonna go on the lower end and go 16. So 16 and whatever the rest of the math is, 16 and 34.
67.
Yeah, so we'd have 67 wins. So guys, the road to 69 would come up short of my prediction.
It's got to be, we're looking for 69 wins.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking for at this point. Sophie's saying that she'll go 500, meaning 25 and 25. If they can go 500 over the remaining stretch, that'd actually be a really big win. I mean, I think it's probably closer to a 20 and 30 type thing.
Yeah.
You know, which would put them at 71 wins to finish things off.
Not bad.
You know, not bad. I think honestly, what helps us is the fact that like this will be the last series against Baltimore.
Yeah.
We're not going to play the New York Yankees anymore.
We have one more against Boston, and like I think it's an easier stretch in August, so there could be an argument, to get 70 wins.
You know, maybe they hit that 70 mark, but wow, you know, to think about where we started to where we are right now, really thinking of that it's going to be a 70-win season, or maybe not even that. I mean, I think you got to lose your job after that. That being said, though, all that being said, 50 straight wins, we win 101 games, we win the division. So 100 wins is still in. 100 wins is still alive. It's still alive.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. All right, real quick, guys, let's give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this Blue Jays Today show.
Whoa! Time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal, everybody. They are the place to go if you have any interest in betting on the Blue Jays or baseball in general or anything like that. What do you got for us today?
Well, actually, I had a bet, but I'm changing it up right now. I'm actually going with the Blue Jays. We were just talking about it. If you think the Blue Jays are going to win 80 games, okay? If you think so what would they do? We get 25 wins.
They
that'd
need
be 76.
30. They need 30, basically.
They need 30, right? So they need about 30 wins. If you think they're going to go 30 and 20, then you should hop on the Betway because they might give you a decent odds. Blue Jays to win 80 games is 5.5 multiplier. So if you bet $10, you'll win 55. So if you really think so, don't put too much because I think that would be a bad mistake. But put a little $5 bet and maybe get lucky. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Win 80 games. That's crazy.
I'll be honest.
I wouldn't.
I'm not gonna do it. I wouldn't do it. But you can if you're interested, folks. You certainly can if you're interested.
They don't even have a line for them to win 100. They don't think we're gonna go 50 in a row.
100 regular. I mean, the line would be like, you know, I don't even know.
Oh, it'd be like a million.
Infinity.
Yeah,
it'd actually be infinity. So, yeah, everybody, if you're interested, if you really think they're gonna pop up, you think the pitching's gonna turn it around, and the offense is gonna get cooking, hop on the Betway. You can make that line right now. Let's move on to the final segment of this video and spin the wheel.
The spinning fortune, baseball, colorful, future determining, stat analyzing, and it's a wheel that we spin every week.
It is, in fact, a wheel that we spin every single week, everybody. We're all tied up right now, 22 and 22. Woo. Adam's week last week. The bonus player, did it come into play?
No, Basso, they both had Gosman.
Right, okay. I mean, Gosman it's so hard to now predict the pitching staff at this point. I don't really want any pitching anything.
Me either,
I just want offensive stuff so I can pick Vladdy and feel good about myself.
Exactly.
So that's where we're at this point. I think Guerrero for the remainder of the season is just going to be a shoe-in for effectively everything.
Any offensive category.
So it is my week this week. Again, we're all tied up, everybody. Yeah. Final stretch right here. Let us know who you're riding with right now. Anyone's game, really?
It's really
anyone's game in the final 2 months of baseball. Let's spin that thing and see what the first one is going to be, everybody.
Just reconnect this bad boy. And it's off camera right now, but it's bonus player.
It's been a minute since I've hit the bonus player, everybody. It has been a minute since I hit the bonus player.
All right.
So I'm going to spin that one again. Yeah, it's offline. I know it said average there for you guys, but it was on bonus player, folks. It was on bonus player.
All right. And it's going to be OPS. Oh, okay, well, that's pretty easy.
Well, that's pretty easy, everybody. That is pretty easy.
It's not showing. Bring it over.
I don't know why. Our second camera hasn't been working the last couple of weeks, guys, so we'll figure it out. But it ended up being OPS, guys. I will obviously go first on this one. I will take Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and then I'll lock in a bonus player after you select.
Yes. Okay, so OPS, that's going to be the category. We've got Nick for Vladdy. I mean, who do you even pick at this point? I mean,
it's a deep drop-off, man.
Here's the thing. Like, when you look at the last week, I didn't even mention this, guys, but honorable mention has been Addison Varsho.
Phenomenal.
He's been very phenomenal in the last 7 days. I'm going to go 15 days here. Let's go Toronto Blue Jays. You Yeah, literally, clearly it's him. Barger's a shoo-in. Turner's not on the team anymore. Sophie's saying George. George is hurt right now, and he's been asked. I guess I gotta go Addison Barger.
Barger, okay.
I really don't know. Like, who else would you actually pick? Ernie Clement, maybe. Let me just take a look here. Ernie Clement's been okay. Let's see, last 7 days.
Will Barger get the playing time? What's he done in the last 7 days?
That's the thing. He might not get the playing time because, you know what? I think it sucks. I think I gotta go Ernie Clement. I think I gotta go Ernie Clement.
Ernie Clement leading things off, everybody.
This is so bad, bro.
It's abysmal. It really, truly is abysmal. I actually have no idea where I go with my bonus player.
Maybe you
here.
do Barger if he gets playing time.
I mean, as a bonus player, I guess it'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
Because I already have Guerrero. Can I see the thing again?
So how many do you want? 15 days or 7 days?
Just 7 days is fine, so I know who's playing and what. So we only played 5 games this past week. Ernie was there.
Ernie's the
Guerrero.
The next best guy is Alejandro Kirk at 5. Oh,
wow.
no. It's Joey Loperfido at 596.
I am not confident with that at all. I don't feel confident with that.
Guys, let us know who you would pick in the chat, man. Who would you? Obviously, it's Vladdy, but like if you couldn't pick Vladdy.
That's insane, man. We don't
have anybody.
We legitimately do not have a major league fucking player after Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
That's insane. Doesn't even matter at this point for you, you know?
Yeah,
pick
I
anybody.
mean, I guess it's got to be Barger. I feel pretty confident that Vladdy will be able to handle this one, but
easy, yeah.
But we will go Barger right there.
All right.
Let's spin it again, everybody. Wow,
Yeah,
the offensive
insane,
categories
dude.
are.
It's gonna be Vladdy or nothing, man.
It really is.
Whoever's week it is gonna be great.
If you spin offensive categories, you're doing well for yourself.
And walks. Okay, a little bit different.
This
I
is
guess.
a bit different for sure. I still think Guerrero's probably leading the charge.
Yeah, Guerrero's definitely leading the charge.
All right, it's easy for me, Vladdy. I'll take Guerrero.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'll take Vladdy.
That's insane.
I mean, dude, they might honestly intentionally walk him now.
Yeah.
I think like that's got to be the strat moving forward. If you're an opposing team, intentionally walk Guerrero, intentionally walk him.
I'm gonna go with one of my favorite guys to go with walks. If it's not Vladdy, I'm gonna go with Spencer Horwitz. George is hurt. He was the second highest, but I gotta go with Spencer Horwitz, guys.
All right, no, that's reasonable, man. This is gonna be your selection right here. Give him a pitcher. Give him a pitcher.
Walks again. Spin that bad boy. Wow. I know Opposite Dan Springer's definitely a choice, but I don't even know if he's playing. Average. Yes, I get a Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
That's easy. That's nice and easy.
This is crazy. What has this season become, guys?
It's Vladdy or nothing. It's Vladdy or nothing.
I'm going with Vladdy. Who you going with?
You show me the stuff again? Who's actually hitting, if anyone, right now?
Barger.
Barger's hitting pretty good, but I already got a Barger.
Let's go games, last 15 days.
Guerrero batting 5'11".
Ernie.
I mean, no one's beating.
You could go Ernie. You could go Ernie, actually. Ernie might be the second best option.
288, eh? That's crazy.
7 days. Is Ernie at 300? Yeah,
wow.
I'll probably go Ernie if I were you. I don't think there's really much other choice. It's Ernie or Barger, you know?
Yeah, really. Okay, Ernie Clement. Ernie Clement. It's going to be Ernie Clement.
Wow, guys. This is where this season is.
Oh, my God.
Where we're at, bro.
This is an abysmal baseball team.
Yep. Yes, it is, guys. But that is the Blue Jays Today's Show, everybody. The Blue Jays, we got to sign Vladdy for obvious reasons. Look at who we're effing picking for offensive categories. Yeah. You got to keep that guy around for beyond 2025. But let us know what you think about that. What do you think about David Schneider getting potentially sent down to the minors? And as well, the whole strategy with Juan Soto walking. Should we continue this? Should other teams continue it? Let us know all your thoughts, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching, folks. Y'all are the best. More videos on the way. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button. We will see you next time. And as always,
go Jays, go!